And finally, let me just now introduce Vijay Mehta. He's an author and president of VM Centre for Peace, founding trustee of Fortune Forum Charity, and chair of Uniting Peace, incorporating action for UN renewal and World Disarmament Campaign. And the Sunday Times described him as a long-standing activist for peace, development, human rights and the environment, who along with his daughter Vijay Mehta has set a precedent for striving to change the world. So I hand you over now to Vijay.
Thank you, Secretary Lord Judge, for your excellent contribution.
Would you use the mic, please?
Thank you.
But not right in front of the face,
Yeah.
where the camera is.
Thanks, Secretary Lord Judge, for your excellent contribution and suggestions for the progress on the completion of Millennium Development Goals. I thought instead of responding to Richard, I think I'm going to broaden the debate and explore some other points which we can discuss in the question-answer session. So what is the greatest challenge in the new millennium, besides completion of Millennium Development Goals? Without little doubt, we face what we face, the chasm between the rich and the poor. Let me just compare with you the disparity, how vital it is. In the last century, the 10 richest countries were 9 times wealthier than the 10 poorest ones. In 1960, the ratio was 30 to 1. And in the beginning of this century, the ratio shot up to staggering 131 to 1. So how can we plug this gap between the rich and poor divide? Billions who live on $1 a day. Of course, they need the assistance of the international community to fulfill the promise of the completion of the Millennium Development Goals for a better world. In year 2000, world leaders agreed by 2015 goals for slashing poverty, hunger, disease, maternal and child deaths, and for improving the environment, education, and gender equality. So, what has gone wrong? Obviously, lack of political will and unmet commitments, inadequate finance, and a staggering shortfall of billions of dollars. And soaring, of course, soaring food prices, which have become a major hurdle in the progress of the MDGs. Today, this year and last year, we have estimated 90 million more people living in extreme poverty than anticipated before the financial crisis. So we got this benchmark of 2010, which presents an important opportunity to energize the global Millennium Development Goals and effort and bring poverty reduction in reality. So the one good news is the new as Frank Judd said, that the new UK government have already shown leadership by saving the international development budget in their deficit reduction program. But of course, the million-dollar question is that we should not pay huge sums to consultants, but it has to be spent more wisely. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to recommend 6 solutions for reduction of poverty, and also at the same time, I'm to recommend 5 pillars of cooperation for the completion of Millennium Development Goals. The first one is promote disarmament for development, a concept which is the implementation of Article 26 of the UN Charter, specifically tasks the UN Security Council with promoting the establishment and maintenance of international peace and security with the least diversion for armaments of the world's human and economic resources, which means activating the Article 26. And as the saying goes, war retards development and development retards poverty. Just to say that we in the anti-poverty groups must make it clear that war is a major cause of poverty, and world economy is tied up in military spending, arms trade and wars to the tune of trillions of dollars. And you can see the benefits if it's freed. This enormous savings thus achieved can be deployed for poverty reduction, healthcare, education, and peace. I'm only going to say one more thing about this, which is what Martin Luther King Jr. said, and I quote, "A nation that continues year after year to spend more money on military defense than on programs of social uplift is approaching spiritual doom." My second proposal will apply rights-based approach for development. This is fantastic. All governments in the world have to commit, because it will be under their rights-based approach to develop, reduce poverty. And it will become their responsibility, such as right to food, health, education, and social existence, which, in other words, empowering people with tools to lift up themselves out of poverty. My third proposal will be, which looks obvious, but it is, empower women in the developing world. It's now widely accepted that empowering women in the developing world is a catalyst for achieving a range of international development goals. What happens when you educate women? When women are educated, can earn and control income, a number of good results follow. Infant mortality declines, child health and nutrition improve, agricultural productivity rises, population growth slows, economies expand, and cycles of poverty are broken. The next one is proposal or initiative is tax. So we should have innovative financing mechanisms like the international financial transactions, or like the plane ticket levy, which is launched in France and implemented in 13 other countries, which is funding hundreds of thousands of children in HIV/AIDS and pediatric and all of those facilities. And we are also doing it, which is the international financing, the UK government for immunization, which after France, we are the largest contributor. No, actually we are the largest contributor, France is behind us. And to help to vaccinate over 100 million children worldwide. And of course, the African countries and other countries need to use efficient tax collecting systems, which is non-existent. And the other thing is the social business, which has the power, which has the potential to reverse the disparity as it addresses the poor directly and deliberately, bringing them in the mainstream, as Richard and Judd said, into the mainstream economic system. And unless that doesn't happen, they cannot grow independently. The next one is to bring justice to the poor, which has been said before, and which spurs growth after conflicts and before and after. And I just need to say that we need action on debt cancellation, fair trade, and good governance, which is urgently needed to save millions of people. But of course is blocked by hypocrisy, lack of political will, and corporate greed. The next one is promote good governance and development, which means implementation of policies and programs for eradicating poverty, which can be based on rooting out corruption, promotion of democracy, and respect of human rights. There are some good examples in the world for that. One is Botswana, which has used money of its diamonds to become the fastest growing economy, one of the fastest growing economies in the world. And the other one is Tanzania, which has achieved 90% of its education targets by showing leadership. Of course, there are bad examples like the Liberia, where all the ministers instructed the Bank of Liberia to put money in their own accounts. So there are bad examples as well. So I'm going to 5 pillars of cooperation, which I also wrote in my book called The Fortune Forum Code for a Sustainable Future. And the 5 pillars are development assistance. Second pillar is international trade. I'm going to save time because we can take everything in question answer time. The second pillar is international trade. The third is the social protection, international peace and security. The fourth one is peace education, which has been said before, global education. The fifth is sustainable development for human and economic progress, which Richard has spoken before. So let me move on to my conclusion.